We often think of parents as the ultimate sacrificers, putting their dreams on hold, working tirelessly, and giving up so much for us. But here's something we rarely talk about. Children also make sacrifices for their parents. Ever skipped a big opportunity just because your parents needed you? Maybe you passed on a dream job in another city, even though it meant leaving behind your own future because you knew your parents would feel alone. Or stayed home to help them out when you had your own plans. These sacrifices don't come with a drum roll, but they're real and they weigh heavy. Of course, not all parents ask for this. Many parents encourage their kids to chase their dreams without hesitation. But for some families, the sacrifice can become one-sided, and that's when the emotional strain begins. Today, we're diving into why children make these sacrifices, and most importantly, how to prevent them from becoming a hidden burden. Imagine this. You're a kid, and you get to pick what's for dinner. Instead of choosing your favorite, you go with what your parents love. It's not a big deal, but it shows how often kids put their needs on the back burner for the ones they love. And those sacrifices? They're not always about dinner. Sometimes they're about bigger decisions. Maybe you chose a college close to home just to keep your parents company, even though you had your heart set on living somewhere else. Or gave up a weekend of fun to take care of family responsibilities instead. These may seem like small choices at first, but when added up, they can create some serious emotional weight. So, why do kids make these sacrifices in the first place? It's not because they're forced to. It's because they love their parents. From the moment we're born, we're wired to bond. That connection with our parents runs deep, and children naturally want to feel close to them. Sacrifices, even the little ones, become their way of showing that love and keeping that bond strong. Culturally, we're often taught that family is everything. You care for your parents because they've cared for you. It can feel like an obligation to put their needs first. And sometimes, kids step into a caretaker role when their parents are fully capable of managing on their own. But not every parent asks for this. Many would rather see their children pursue their passions and live their own lives. But for some, it's an unspoken rule, a child stepping in to do the right thing, even when it means sidelining their own happiness. Now, here's the thing. These sacrifices, while coming from a place of love, can take an emotional toll. At first, it's a small thing, a choice between a night out or helping a parent. But over time, the weight of those little sacrifices can build up and cause frustration, resentment, and guilt. There's a flip side to all this. Sacrificing for others can help us grow, teaching empathy, resilience, and responsibility. It strengthens our relationships and creates stronger bonds. But when these sacrifices go unnoticed or are taken for granted, they can quickly turn into something else, like emotional exhaustion, guilt, or burnout. When kids constantly give up their own happiness to please their parents, it can feel like their dreams don't matter anymore. They may begin to feel invisible. And that's a hidden cost. Love isn't about sacrificing everything for someone else. When you're constantly giving up your happiness to please others, the cost becomes too high. So, how can we prevent these emotional costs? How can parents and children build a relationship where sacrifices aren't always one-sided? Communication is key. Parents, take a moment to ask your kids, "What have you given up for me?" And children, don't be afraid to speak up. It's not about rejecting your family, it's about finding that balance. If you need to follow your own dreams, let them know. You can still love them without sacrificing everything. Show appreciation. Parents, when your child makes a sacrifice, no matter how small, acknowledge it. A simple "I see what you're doing and I appreciate it" goes a long way. It reminds them that their efforts don't go unnoticed and keeps that emotional connection strong. Give each other space to grow. Children, remember, you have every right to prioritize your own dreams and happiness. Love isn't about always putting others first. It's about finding that sweet spot where you care for others and yourself. Parents, give your children the freedom to chase their own dreams without guilt or fear. Everyone needs room to grow. Remember, not all families are like this. Many parents support their kids in ways that encourage their growth without asking them to sacrifice their well-being. But if you're in a situation where these sacrifices feel like they're too much, it's never too late to start communicating and finding that balance. Family isn't about one person giving everything for the other. It's about mutual love, respect, and understanding. It's about truly seeing each other, the quiet sacrifices, the little acts of love that go unnoticed, and the times we do put ourselves last for the people we care about. So, think about this. When was the last time you really took a moment to appreciate the sacrifices your parents have made for you? Or when you gave your child the space to chase their dreams without feeling guilty? Have you ever asked, "What have you given up for me?" These sacrifices, whether big or small, shape us. They create connection, but they can also leave a mark. When was the last time you acknowledged that? Love isn't about giving up everything. It's about finding that balance. If this resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. When was the last time you realized a sacrifice, whether it was yours or someone else's? How did it change things for you? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you believe family should be a place of support and not sacrifice. Let's create a community where we truly see each other, where every sacrifice, no matter how small, is honored. Together, we can make sure no one feels alone in their love.